Red One is a 2024 American Christmas action comedy film directed by Jake Kasdan and written by Chris Morgan from an original story by Hiram Garcia. When Santa Claus is kidnapped from the North Pole, a highly skilled ELF, extremely large and formidable, operative teams up with the world's top tracker to rescue him and save Christmas. Alright, so I have watched Red One. Not by my own intentions. I was a bit forced to sort of watch this film because it was my brother's idea. We got the 4K sort of exclusive DVD disc from the library, and so we tested it out on the projector. And as much as I didn't want to see this film, I can't say that I totally regret watching it. But yeah, I think overall this film was just kind of bad. It was pretty mid. Red One has a very predictable storyline, relying heavily on holiday action, and there's very familiar comedy tropes. And I think overall it just lacks originality and depth to the storyline, to the characters, to really everything. I will admit though, Red One is entertaining in some parts, but that's thanks to thankfully a mix in humor. The humor is not just plainly consistent throughout. It does switch up here and there, and it does have some festive cheer and some well-timed action moments. The action sequences were probably like the most surprising for me because they were actually quite decent. But yeah, I think even if we've seen it like a million times in these types of movies before, I still sort of commend the star power from Dwayne Johnson and Chris Evans. I think the duo sort of creates a lively dynamic, and I think they actually quite worked well together. But I think standout performances-wise, I do think Chris Evans and Lucy Liu are the standouts, while the other characters and the other actors, they just feel very flat and forced. The dialogue, and I do actually blame this on sort of the dialogue. I think the dialogue throughout the film just lacks charm and wit. It is very, very cliche. But yeah, I think I put this on my Letterboxd review as well. I do think Dwayne Johnson has consistently delivered some of the most, cliche, one-dimensional, plainish character performances of all time. And Red One is no different. It's no different from Red Notice. It's no different from Jumanji, who, by the way, is the same filmmaker as Jumanji. I think Dwayne Johnson just plays himself in every single film. And I don't really know what to think about it. It's not like he's one of my favorite actors, but the fact that he's like the highest grossing actor still is, I don't know. But I guess if it's broke, or if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I guess when it comes to these types of films, these types of blockbuster picks. But I am sort of still looking forward to his new film, The Smashing Machine, which is directed by Benny Safdie, who's an incredible filmmaker and writer. So let's see if Dwayne Johnson, actually is able to, really put in his acting chops for that film, because it wasn't really here for Red One. Supporting cast, I thought they were overall decent. You have J.K. Simmons, who's one of my favorite actors. He sort of reprises his role as Santa Claus in a way because he did the voice over for Santa Claus in the movie Claus, which is cool. You have Nick Kroll, who is not an actor that I have watched consistently, but he's definitely that type of actor that would be in a movie like this. And then you have Kiernan Shipka, who's kind of an up-and-coming actress in a way. I believe she's only 25 years old. I don't remember if I've seen her in a film before, but I think her character was just so, again, one-dimensional, flat, forced, very plain, very mild. But I think altogether, the cast does try their best to add some charm and some energy, though it is definitely not enough to elevate the overall experience, or elevate my experience that I had watching this film. I mentioned before, the character development is very weak. The introductions for these characters are also very rushed. We don't really know much about Dwayne Johnson's character, except that he kind of wants to quit his job and stuff like that. I don't know. It was kind of just inserted in this emotional background, but it really just does not do justice to his character. And yeah, some very underdeveloped character arcs in the early acts as well. The visuals and actions are hit or miss, to be honest. They have decent execution at times, but they're marred by clumsy sequences and heavy CGI that sort of underdelivers. Given the film's very expensive budget, this had a $250 million budget, and yet it still looks, visually wise, it still looks poorer than, you know, the Avatar films. So, or even, what's a film that had a small budget? The Godzilla film. I think it was a Japanese film, the Godzilla film. I think people really like to use that comparison because those Japanese filmmakers were able to create like an insane replica of Godzilla using, I think they only had like a $15 million budget. But yeah, and I don't know, whenever I watch a film that has an insanely high budget and the visuals are kind of mid, I always think back to that Godzilla film, and I'm like, wow, they really kind of set the bar high. Yeah, I think, I do think though that this film, it has a very festive atmosphere, which you can't really like neglect, you know, and that's what it sort of is for. It has that purpose. It also has a lighthearted tone, so of course, you know, this might appeal to children, people younger than me. And so I think it's definitely possible to like put this on your television screen for a casual holiday viewing, you know. Though I do think it's best suited as like background entertainment. So I think when you're doing like your festivities, you'll just put it in the background and just let it play out. You wouldn't actually focus on the movie itself. But yeah, I think overall, despite moments of fun, or some fun and some energetic sequences and sometimes performances, the cast does, you know, of course, they really try their best. It doesn't really seem like any of the cast members phone in their performances. It really feels like they're trying to do their best. And so I guess you have to sort of respect that. But I don't think the dialogue does them justice. Screenplay just diminishes all of their arcs and the characters themselves. And so I do think Red One, you know, overall, it falls short of its potential. Not that I had any high expectations coming into this film, but it does feel like a missed opportunity for what could have been a very memorable holiday blockbuster. I don't know. I think there was a meme going around, like, I don't know if Dwayne Johnson said it or if someone online said it, but like people were saying, or yeah, there was a saying that Red One was going to shift the hierarchy of Christmas films. But yeah, I don't think Red One is going to be as memorable as they sort of hoped. I think this film will be sort of forgotten in just a couple years span of time. But yeah, I'm going to give Red One a 5 out of 10. Like I said, I didn't enjoy the film, but I do think it's not as bad as some people are pointing it out to be. It's not horrendous by any means, but just a bit lackluster here and there. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Hope you enjoyed. See you later.